My mother has brought home an adopted daughter, claiming deceitfully that she is an orphan from her family. Little does she know, in this lifetime, I have awakened to a mind-reading ability. As the adopted daughter beams with joy while serving tea to my father, I ponder, what shall I do? If my father discovers she is the daughter of my mother and her former lover, he would surely be infuriated. When the adopted daughter presents knee pads to my elder brother, another thought crosses my mind. In her previous life, she caused my brother to lose his sight. Should I inform him of this now? A month has passed since the foster daughter arrived at our residence, and the entire family has shown her undue favoritism. Ultimately, I found myself humiliated by a beggar she summoned, meeting my demise in a secluded corner. It was only in my final moments that I discovered the truth. She was the offspring of my mother and her former lover. Had my father not excelled in his studies, my mother would never have chosen to be with him. After marrying my father, her sole ambition was to usurp the family fortune, rendering my father a mere shadow of his former self. Everything seemed to unfold seamlessly, yet to everyone's astonishment, I was reborn. I found myself reincarnated on the very day my mother brought home the foster daughter. From now on, Niao Niao will be your sister. You must treat her well, my mother declared. Su Niao timidly hid behind her, her eyes glistening with unshed tears, exuding an air of pitiful innocence. In my previous life, this very guise of vulnerability ensnared the hearts of all at the Song residence. Upon seeing her, my father extended his hand affectionately, wishing to draw her close. I inwardly mused, if only father knew she is the daughter of mother and her uncle, would he still act so? I observed my father's hand falter for a moment, suspended in midair, as suspicion flickered across his face, scanning the surroundings. The servants had retreated to the backyard to tidy up, leaving just the four of us present. At last, his gaze settled upon me. Ing. Was that you speaking just now? Seeing my expression of confusion, he furrowed his brow and attempted to reach out once more. It is best that father remains unaware. Mother deliberately brought her back. Alas, father is truly pitiable. In the next instant, my father abruptly withdrew his hand. In my previous life, after Su Niao arrived at the estate, my father exhibited an extraordinary tolerance towards her. Little did we know that this very kindness would lead to our family's downfall. Su Niao, noticing this, feigned even greater distress. Tears glimmered at the corners of her eyes as she tugged at my mother's sleeve, asking, "Madam, does the master not like me?" My mother, filled with compassion, gently patted her head. What nonsense! Upon arriving at the Song residence, you are one of us. With that, she instructed someone to prepare a room in the backyard. Madam, that room is truly beautiful. Su Niao pointed towards the direction behind us. It was my chamber, facing north, adorned with a peach blossom tree. At this moment, in the spring, the blossoms were in full bloom, petals swirling through the air, creating a delightful scene. My mother nodded in agreement and said to me, "Niao Niao has never lived in such a lovely place. Let her have it." I remained silent. Yet my heart was heavy with melancholy. Mother has been neglecting me lately. Is she spending all her time with my sister? Must I relinquish my own chamber for her to notice me? My mother, oblivious to my thoughts, was nevertheless heard by my father, who registered every word. His expression darkened as he called out to the servants. "That is the young lady's room. Who permitted you to disturb it?" "I apologize, my lord. I did not mean to. I simply thought that place was too beautiful." "It is all my fault for upsetting my sister," Su Niao responded swiftly. Though I had said nothing, she laid bare her every emotion. In my prior existence, she had managed to elicit my father's pity. Meanwhile, I was chastised for my reluctance to part with my own chamber, deemed spoiled and overly pampered. Su Niao sobbed, "My lord, do not be angry. It is all my fault. I grew up in a dilapidated temple and have never seen such a lovely courtyard. Seeing her in such a state, I too felt wronged. Father will scold me for being petty. Perhaps I should refrain from explaining myself, but that chamber was designed according to my preferences by father himself." My father turned to me, his eyes shimmering with unshed tears. In the past, when he had just begun his official career and the estate was being renovated, he had specially reconstructed that courtyard for me. At a time when the emperor overlooked him, he was filled with despondency. Even as a toddler, I could sense his troubled spirit, and I would babble in an attempt to cheer him up. He must have been reminded of those days. He barked sternly. "You An outsider, have no right to occupy the young lady's chamber. That belongs to Ying. Were your childhood hardships caused by us? With that, he commanded the servants to prepare a storage room. Sun Yao was taken aback, biting her lip as tears streamed down her cheeks. Was she truly pitiable as a child? I scoffed inwardly. My mother, upon receiving my father's first salary, had immediately purchased her new garments. Now that my mother's former lover was preoccupied with his own affairs, she had brought Sun Yao back, intending to oust us. She claimed that I was too taciturn and sought to provide me with companionship. Every detail was meticulously planned to displace our family and usurp our place. My father was a rugged man, his heart devoted solely to the nation, preoccupied with saving the populace. Naturally, he was inclined to assist a homeless individual. Thus, he permitted my mother to bring her home. Little did he know that their carefully laid plans were disrupted by my presence. My mother, visibly anxious, grasped my father's wrist. My lord, Niao Niao has never been cared for and is visiting such a splendid place for the first time. It is only natural for her to wish for a comfortable stay. Why be so stern? I observed the look of disdain on my father's face, knowing he must be inclined to question my mother. Yet, it was not the appropriate moment. Thus, he caught wind of my thoughts. Mother must be attempting to drive us away. Her former lover wields influence in Jiangnan, and if we alert them now, it may yield adverse consequences. My father sighed deeply, suppressing his anger, and turned to me, saying, Ying, come with me. He took me away, while my mother evidently wished to say more. After all, my father was perpetually occupied with state affairs, and had little time to linger here. To win his favor, she must seize the moment with Sun Yao. However, my father was already preoccupied, his mind clouded with confusion. My mother and Sun Yao exchanged glances, perhaps pondering why my father, usually so straightforward, had suddenly become so suspicious. Upon entering the room, my father pulled me close, his expression grave as he asked, Ying, what is troubling you? I replied, feigning confusion, yet internally I thought, does father truly believe them? It would make sense. In my previous life, father was deceived by them, resulting in the Song family's downfall. His face darkened further, turning a shade of crimson in his fury. He rose, ready to confront my mother. No, I cannot allow father and mother to quarrel now, if they become desperate. Who knows what could transpire? If only father could uncover evidence of corruption against the merchants of Jiangnan, we could eradicate them all at once, earning the emperor's favor. My father paused in his tracks, deep in thought. He patted my shoulder before departing. As in my previous life, after Sun Yao entered the household, she was exceptionally obedient and considerate, serving tea and taking on every task. She flourished within the estate, standing by my mother's side. Gazing at my father with envy as she remarked, Sister is truly fortunate. Unlike me, I can only manage the coarser tasks. My hand, holding the cup, faltered, and I instinctively withdrew, lowering my head. It is my fault for not being adept, but father once said that if I usurped the maid's duties, wouldn't she then become the mistress? I bit my lip and said, I am sorry, sister, it is all my fault. I will not drink this tea. Out of the corner of my eye, I caught sight of my father, who was glaring at Sun Yao with a blank expression. Sun Yao misinterpreted his gaze as praise, lowering her head in shyness. I stifled a smile discreetly. Sun Yao leaned closer to my father. My lord, please do not be angry with my sister. She has always been attended to. Enough. My father could bear no more. He shattered the teacup before him, startling Sun Yao. My lord, please do not be angry. Sister is merely, even now, she believed my father's ire stemmed from my perceived lack of decorum. She spoke on my behalf, while her heart was likely rejoicing. The father rebuked, I care not for your intentions. Since you are here, behave yourself and refrain from frivolous thoughts. With that, he cast a disapproving glare at the mother and departed. Sun Yao's eyes widened, leaving her bewildered and at a loss. Once the father had retreated, the mother, visibly agitated, pulled Sun Yao aside to murmur, What is the matter? Did you not say he was a simpleton, incapable of overthinking? The mother, too, was perplexed. The father had always been mild-mannered and gentle in her presence, never exhibiting such ire before. After much contemplation, she speculated that perhaps it was due to his dissatisfaction with court affairs. Fear not, as long as you remain in the Song residence. A solution will present itself in due time. The most crucial matter is Song Ing. The emperor has betrothed her to the son of the Su family, a prominent clan in the capital. You must devise a way to ruin Song Ying's reputation. Only then can you claim her position. And the Song estate will rightfully belong to us. The Su family was a line of merchants, wealthy beyond compare. Should she become Mrs. Su, she would bask in unparalleled opulence. The mother's eyes gleamed with avarice, and Su Niao found herself lost in dreams of a splendid future, nodding vigorously in agreement. In her past life, having been sheltered since childhood, she harbored no defenses against the sudden arrival of this sister. Not only did she provide for her every want, but she also concealed any transgressions on her behalf. Under her mother's persistent persuasion, she had come to regard her as a true sister. Yet, they had meticulously plotted against her, leading to the demise of her family and her beloved, ultimately usurping her rightful place. Observing Su Niao's delusions of grandeur, her fingertips began to pale. Did she truly believe that, in this life, she would be so fortunate? In a few days, my birthday would arrive. My father had arranged a banquet to welcome esteemed guests from the capital to the Su residence. During this time, Su Niao grew considerably quieter, refraining from any antics before our father. She had become acutely aware of his disapproving demeanor towards her and wisely chose not to provoke further ire. Su Heng was my childhood companion, having grown up alongside me. Our affections were mutual, and thus, upon reaching maturity, he sought the emperor's consent to marry me, vowing to be together for eternity. However, in my previous life, Su Niao had drugged me, stripping me of my virtue, which ultimately led to Su Heng's heart-wrenching demise. Upon seeing him once more, tears welled in my eyes. Before I could approach, Su Niao eagerly positioned herself before him, gazing at Su Heng with adoration. Are you the esteemed Su Gongzi? I have heard much of your humility and elegance, and indeed, you are a paragon of talent. In my previous life, she had similarly attempted to ingratiate herself with Su Heng. Like me, Su Heng was youthful and naive, oblivious to the treachery of human nature. Though he had not paid her any mind in the past, he had also failed to guard against her, allowing Su Niao to cling to him. And out of unrequited love, she sought revenge on me, inflicting pain upon Su Heng. I remained silent, pondering, what should I do? Su Niao is at it again. What if that kind-hearted Su Heng is deceived? I could sense Su Heng's gaze lingering on me, his brows furrowed in confusion. These past days, Su Niao has been relentless in trying to oust me. My mother regards her as her own daughter and even desires the position of the Song family's young lady. I truly do not know how to navigate this predicament. If Su Heng were to learn that it was she who caused our demise in the previous life, he would undoubtedly be furious. Su Heng's expression darkened as Su Niao, oblivious to the unfolding drama, continued her incessant chatter. Su Gongzi, I have perused your commercial texts. The knowledge contained therein is vast. I adore studying commerce, yet I have heard that my sister has little interest in it. Before she could finish, Su Heng forcefully pushed her away, his actions uncharacteristically brusque. Get away, do not come near me. This was a side of Su Heng I had never witnessed before. He had always been gentle with others, yet this marked his first display of anger. His strength was considerable, as he roughly shoved Su Niao to the ground. Her face flushed crimson, yet she dared not utter a word. Stubbornly, she rose, tears welling in her eyes, but remaining unspilled, portraying herself as a resilient flower. I wonder if my sister spoke ill of me to Su Gongzi, for why else would he disdain me so? The surrounding guests turned their attention at the sound of her voice. Isn't this the adopted daughter brought back by Madame Song? Indeed. I hear she was rescued from a dilapidated temple. She appears quite pitiful. True, it seems the Song lady has a rather small-minded demeanor. Su Niao listened with satisfaction, eagerly awaiting Su Heng to change his opinion of her and develop an affection. I mused, my sister is so endearing, it's no wonder everyone dislikes me. Perhaps I should remove myself from this gathering. Lowering my gaze, I prepared to turn away. Su Heng seized my hand, addressing Su Niao sternly. I do not know you, please respect yourself. Moreover, I have no recollection of Ying having a sister, do not go around claiming kinship. Witnessing her prize slip away, Su Niao grew anxious. Her eyes darted to the exquisite gift in Su Heng's hand. Is this for my sister? It appears quite precious. My sister's jewelry box contains numerous adornments, many of which I have never seen. How I wish I could have some. One must admit, Sun Yao could rival the actresses of the opera troupes with her pathetic act. It was no wonder she had discarded the garments crafted by our mother, insisting on modest attire for today. She had even told our father, "Today is my sister's birthday banquet. I should not seek to draw attention," leading him to question if he had misheard before. Now, however, she revealed her true intentions. Dressed in such modesty, was it not to signal to others that she was ill-treated? I scoffed quietly, allowing my thoughts to surface. Is my sister reproaching us for our treatment of her? Upon her arrival, Mother took her to Yunshan Pavilion in the capital, ordering 5 garments, each worth 100 taels of gold, something I have never received. Mother treats her exceptionally well. Meanwhile, Sun Yao continued her lamentations. When it rains, I have to compete with beggars for scraps throughout the year. I possess only one dress, and sometimes, when hunger strikes, I must gnaw on tree bark. I wondered if she had noticed the transformation in my father's expression, which had darkened to a shade of charcoal. The newly established Qing Empire had proclaimed a ban on extravagance, especially among officials. My father, having risen from humble beginnings, had never indulged in waste. He alone held the keys to the treasury. Where did Mother procure her money? As silence enveloped the room, Sun Yao believed her sob story had garnered sympathy. Just as she prepared to speak again, Su Heng's countenance darkened further. He released my hand and opened the elegantly crafted gift box, revealing a sky-blue jade pendant. I swiftly grasped his hand, my thoughts racing. I must not allow Sun Yao to see this. Otherwise, she will surely devise a means to ruin it. As anticipated, in the next moment, Sun Yao lunged toward us. Su Heng deftly pulled me aside, causing Sun Yao to tumble unceremoniously to the floor. She cried out in pain, tears streaming down her cheeks as she looked at me with a pitiful expression. "Sister, I know you dislike me, but why must you trip me? This is a birthday gift specially prepared for you by Su Gongzi. Even if you do not cherish the present, such behavior is unwarranted." What a masterful display of victimhood. Mother quickly interjected, chastising me. "Ying, you are being rather thoughtless. How could you act in such a manner? Su Gongzi has shown you genuine affection. Even if you do not reciprocate, you should not squander his goodwill." Observing such blatant favoritism, I was struck by the irony. In my previous life, I had felt remorse for my own actions. Had I not been granted a second chance, I might have remained oblivious to their venomous facades. Su Heng shielded me protectively, tenderly stroking my head before casting a cold glance at Sun Yao. "This gift is from me. I haven't even said anything yet, and you dare to reprimand me? To put it bluntly, you are merely a foster guest in the Song household. What authority do you possess to meddle in matters that do not concern you? Furthermore, it was clearly you who lunged at me just now." Ying was standing behind me. How could she possibly have reached me so quickly? "Do you take me for a fool?" Just moments ago, she was lamenting the plight of Sun Yao, and now the realization struck her. An immediate surge of indignation, tinged with mockery, erupted from her. What did I expect? A foundling is just a foundling, hardly worthy of notice. Indeed, this jade pendant is of such exquisite value. Could it be that you envy young Master Su's genuine affection for Miss Su and wish to disrupt their bond? TSK, 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 so young yet so venomous. The guest's caustic jeers assailed Sun Yao, who quickly found herself unable to maintain her composure. Her lips turned downward, tears welling in her eyes, as though she had suffered a great injustice. Su Heng pressed on relentlessly. "This is Ying's birthday banquet. What business do you, an outsider, have here?" I. Sun Yao's face flushed crimson with urgency as she sought her mother's help. Yet, before such a multitude of guests, her mother dared not show her usual favoritism. Everyone had witnessed the events unfold. She is my mother. How could she come to the aid of an outsider? The underlying schemes were evident to all. With no other recourse, Sun Yao fled, feeling utterly wronged. My father, suppressing his anger, graciously ushered the guests inside. Su Heng followed closely behind me, concern etched on his face. "Ying, has she been bullying you? Do you need my assistance?" I shook my head in response. "I simply wish for all of you to be well and not to be deceived." Su Heng gently ruffled my hair. "I shall ensure that you endure no grievances." After the banquet concluded, my father summoned everyone in the household, including my mother. She fawningly offered him tea. "What troubles you, my lord?" My father shot her a cold glare, dismissing her hand. He inquired in an icy tone, "Who manages the accounts of the Sioux family?" The servants exchanged glances, none daring to speak. The accounts had always been overseen by the steward. The silence spoke volumes, revealing the underlying intrigues. As I observed my father's face gradually contort with rage, my heart whispered the answer once more. Last time, it seemed I found the accounts hidden in my mother's wardrobe, where she had embezzled 3,000 taels. I wonder what she used it for? Perhaps it is best not to inform my father. If he learns of this, he will surely be furious. Indeed, my father was incensed. He slammed his palm on the table, bellowing, "Zhang Ma, go to the mistress's room and retrieve the accounts." In my previous life, my mother had foisted the blame for the embezzlement onto me. My father, initially skeptical, knew me well, having raised me as his daughter. Later, to eliminate me as a potential threat, my mother secretly stowed the accounts in my room and slandered me as a frivolous child who squandered the family fortune. My father became utterly disillusioned with me. In this life, I would preemptively reveal everything. What could she possibly do then? Upon hearing my father instruct Zhang Ma to search her room, my mother turned ashen. "My lord, how could the accounts possibly be in my possession? Am I truly that kind of person?" My father scoffed, sizing her up with a piercing gaze. "Is that so? You genuinely have no idea?" "What do you mean by that, my lord?" My mother sensed his growing skepticism and became increasingly agitated. Zhang Ma hurriedly returned with the accounts, a thick bundle in her hands. My father, unfamiliar with such matters, summoned the elderly steward. After a brief consultation, the steward whispered something to my father. In a fit of rage, my father shouted, "Preposterous! Have we turned the world upside down?" The shock sent everyone to their knees, particularly my mother, who trembled in fear. The accounts revealed a staggering discrepancy, a shortfall of 30,000 taels. My father rose, bellowing, "Speak! Who is responsible for this?" I feigned fear, pondering to myself, "My mother will undoubtedly lay the blame at my feet. Should I refute her? What if my father does not believe me?" As I anticipated, my mother pointed an accusatory finger at me, her voice fierce. "My lord, Ying has been sneaking out these past few days. Who knows what she has been up to? That money must have been stolen by her. You have spoiled her too much. Now she has learned to pilfer from our household." With that, she shot me a venomous glare. "Quickly confess to your father what you have done with the money." I weakly retorted, "I didn't take it, it wasn't me." My mother lunged at me, delivering a stinging slap. The force of it made blood rush to my mouth. I covered my face, feigning disbelief at her actions. How could I have raised such a daughter, so brazen as to steal from her own family? In my previous life, due to the influence of others, they all suspected I was the one who took the money from the treasury. Their disappointment in me stemmed from the years of indulgence. My father, disillusioned, punished me with confinement. My mother and Su Niao had planted seeds of doubt in his mind. I looked at her, my expression one of helplessness, desperately trying to explain. "I didn't steal it, mother." Just as I sensed another slap coming, my father seized her wrist. "Enough. Ying is my daughter." My mother, perhaps misunderstanding his intent, thought he was merely protecting my dignity in front of others, unaware that he was genuinely concerned for me. I subtly took a step back. Su Niao moved forward, fanning the flames. "Madam, sister certainly didn't mean any harm. With so much money involved, how could she possibly manage all of that?" My father turned to her, his anger palpable. "What gives you the right to meddle in affairs of the Song household? And those fine garments in your room, where did you acquire the funds for them?" Su Niao fell silent, pressing her lips together in trepidation. My father threw the accounts at my mother's face. "Look at the chaos you have wrought. One day, I will hold you accountable for every single item." After ordering a complete audit of the household accounts, my father decreed that my mother was not to leave the estate until everything was resolved. In the evening, as I passed by Su Niao's room, I overheard hushed conversations within. "Mother, this is entirely different from what you described. Su Heng seems quite difficult to approach. How am I supposed to get close to him?" Su Niao complained with dissatisfaction. My mother was tending to her wounds, wincing in pain. "How was I to know? That young man appears so mild-mannered yet is utterly captivated by Song Ying, that vixen." Despite being her own offspring, she referred to me as a vixen. It was evident how little she thought of me, how much she detested this place. In our childhood, she had shown us kindness. During summer, when father went to court, she would take us fishing by the river. In winter, she would craft warm garments for us. Before us, she always wore the guise of a loving mother, seemingly devoted to our well-being. Yet to think that such a person had deceived us for over a decade filled me with sorrow and dread. And as for father, did you not say he lacks intelligence? I have been serving him tea and water these past few days, yet he hardly pays me any mind. My mother, too, was bewildered. Father indeed seemed indifferent to these matters. After their marriage, he lavished my mother with boundless affection, granting her every wish. He never took a concubine, and she lived comfortably within the estate. She could not fathom where things had gone awry. It was as if he had transformed into a different person altogether. My mother patted Sun Yao's hand, reassuring her, "Fear not, in a little while your elder brother will return. With his recent military achievements, perhaps the emperor will grant him promotions. If Su Hong does not find you suitable, we can consider your brother instead." I turned away and left, calculating the days. My brothers are indeed returning. We, the 3 children of the Song family, consist of 2 sons and 1 daughter. I was raised in an environment of indulgence. My 2 elder brothers were sent by my father to the frontier to serve in the army. The eldest brother is now a general, while the second brother has yet to make a name for himself. In my previous life, Sun Yao caused my demise and that of Su Hong, and subsequently schemed to seduce my elder brother. He, with a temperament akin to our father's, was utterly oblivious to the sentiments of a woman. He was swiftly brainwashed by Sun Yao and ultimately fell victim to a drug that afflicted him with an eye ailment, preventing him from returning to the battlefield. As for my second brother, he fell hopelessly in love with Sun Yao at first sight, consistently defending her, even to the detriment of his own family. After my death, I discovered another secret. The second brother and Sun Yao are actually siblings. No wonder he never seemed to assimilate with us, often conspiring with the young ruffians of the capital to bully me. In this lifetime, none of them shall escape. On the eve of the reunion festival, my second brother and eldest brother returned triumphantly. His Majesty specially decreed that they forego formal greetings and return home swiftly for the reunion dinner. After years of separation, my eldest brother remains as spirited as ever, while my second brother is as glib as he once was. It is said that their recent victory was solely due to the efforts of my eldest brother, while my second brother merely sought to establish a reputation within the military. Sun Yao greeted them with a radiant smile. "It is a pleasure to meet you, second young master and eldest young master." Sun Yao, possessing remarkable intelligence, recognized that the path with Su Hong was futile and decisively abandoned it. In her perception, the Song family would inevitably become her possession, pouring tea for them. Her every gesture exuded a feigned fragility. "I have long heard of your distinguished presence, eldest young master, and your handsome visage, second young master." A smile crept upon my lips as my inner voice resonated. Finally, I see my brother again. In my past life, Sun Yao drugged him, leading to his eye ailment and ultimately his death on the battlefield. How heartbroken he must have been then. My eldest brother sputtered, scattering tea across Sun Yao's face. Caught off guard, Sun Yao hesitated to react, maintaining her composure and timidly inquiring, "Was it too hot?" My second brother, concerned, asked, "What is it, brother?" Only my eldest brother heard my inner thoughts. He scanned the room and finally fixed his gaze on my troubled countenance. "Ying, was that you speaking just now?" I innocently shook my head, yet my mind raced with thoughts of how to alert my brother. What if he does not believe me? My eldest brother's expression darkened. Sun Yao stood awkwardly, resembling a fallen beauty. My second brother immediately rose, shedding his cloak to drape over her. An onlooker might have thought she had been drenched. Sun Yao blushed, embodying the essence of a delicate and fragile maiden. "Thank you, second young master." She lifted her tear-filled eyes, causing my second brother's ears to flush. Observing their flirtation, I mused, indeed, my second brother seems to favor Sun Yao. Yet, why do they appear somewhat alike? My eldest brother cast another astonished glance in my direction. I blinked innocently. "What is it, brother?" "And nothing," he stammered, falling silent. Subsequently, he distanced himself from Sun Yao's deliberate advances. Perhaps having heard my thoughts, he refrained from engaging with her further. Conversely, my second brother, even without Sun Yao's overt pursuit, trailed behind her with fervor. It seemed that with my eldest brother proving hopeless, Su Niao shifted her affections towards my second brother. In early spring, as April dawned, my mother's old acquaintance returned from the south. Meanwhile, my father was in the palace discussing state affairs with the emperor. Word reached us that he had been thriving with his business ventures in the south and had gained some renown, thanks in no small part to my mother, who had shamelessly pilfered from the Song family's coffers to support him. My eldest brother began to sense something amiss. He frequently engaged in jovial conversations with our mother, who sometimes even personally offered him massages. The servants of the household could hardly bear to witness such impropriety. My mother deceitfully claimed that he was merely her cousin. Utter nonsense. After decades, where did she conjure such a cousin? The bond between mother and uncle is truly commendable. I recall that mother spent some time in the south before eventually marrying father in the capital. I watched the man re-enter my mother's quarters, and my eldest brother's face darkened ominously. He strode into the room, flinging open the door. My mother was still in the act of giving her uncle a shoulder rub. Today was a day for returning home, and the household servants had gone to visit their families. My mother had sent us to the temple to pray. My second brother and Su Niao had gone, while my eldest brother and I stayed behind. Upon seeing us, my mother appeared momentarily dazed. "Yuner, what are you doing back?" My eldest brother restrained his anger. "What are you two doing?" The man, unfazed, chuckled heartily and pulled my mother into his embrace. "What do you think? Can't you tell?" Now a wealthy merchant from the south, he had the means and the audacity. My eldest brother clenched his teeth and lunged at him, pinning him down. As a martial general, a single punch rendered the man dazed and defenseless, begging for mercy. In the ensuing chaos, my father returned, accompanied by a decree. He had uncovered the man's collusion with officials in corrupt dealings. As he was taken away, my second brother and Su Niao returned just in time. My second brother, bewildered, asked, "What is happening?" My father scoffed and approached my mother. She had collapsed in fright, taking a moment to grasp the situation. Clutching his leg, she mumbled incoherently, my lord, I was wrong, my lord." My father gazed at her, his eyes ablaze with fury. "I have treated you with kindness, and yet you failed to cherish it, even conspiring with outsiders to harm our family. How can you be such a venomous woman?" He forcefully shoved her away, turning his back in refusal to look at her. "Do you know that had it not been for me, you would never have enjoyed such a carefree life? Without me, how would you have escaped that wretched place?" Before meeting my father, my mother had been a servant in a brothel. My father, kind-hearted, had taken her in. After several years together, feelings blossomed between them. My father endured numerous hardships to ensure she entered the household with dignity. Eventually, my mother, inspired by her circumstances, insisted on becoming a noble lady. My father then took up studies, dedicating himself to the pursuit of scholarly success. After much toil, he attained the esteemed position of a censor. Every step he took was for her sake, for the sake of our family's betterment. His words were firm, but his heart was soft. My mother, covering her face, wept bitterly, unable to utter a single word. Su Niao, sensing the tension, knelt and sobbed, "My lord, please forgive the lady this once. She was merely confused. It was not intentional." Silence. My father had tolerated her long enough. "You are but a bastard. Had it not been for you, would Ying have turned out this way?" He pushed Su Niao's hand aside. My second brother rushed to support her, discontentedly stating, "Father, it is Mother's fault. What does Niao have to do with this? She is merely a weak girl." My father scrutinized my second brother, then glanced at Su Niao. In recent times, he had been preoccupied with state affairs, oblivious to the questionable conduct between the two. Suddenly, Su Niao clutched her abdomen, grasping my second brother's hand in anguish. "Second young master, I have a stomachache." Only then did I notice that her belly appeared somewhat swollen. Regardless of my father's displeasure, it was a matter of human life at stake. He let out a heavy sigh and summoned a physician. As I had suspected, she was with child. The father, incensed, struck the second brother across the face. "You wretch! Look at the mess you've created." The second brother covered his face, yet his thoughts remained fixated on Su Niao. It was evident that he was elated. Su Niao also radiated joy. Despite the father's harshness, this was, after all, his grandchild. The transgressions of his son could not go unattended. At that moment, Su Hong entered the room, accompanied by a disheveled old woman. You! How can you be together? The old woman gazed incredulously at the two before her. Ignoring the guard's attempts to restrain her, she lunged forward. You cannot be together. This child must not be born. The woman, as if driven mad, struck Su Niao's belly furiously. The second brother, filled with rage, pushed her away. You are insane. Everyone stood frozen, bewildered by the scene unfolding before them. You cannot be together. You're siblings. The old woman collapsed to the ground, helplessly pounding her chest, sobbing uncontrollably. What? What did you say? The second brother looked at her in disbelief, shock etched across his face. Su Niao's complexion turned ashen in an instant. It turned out that the second brother was the child conceived by their mother during an affair, unbeknownst to their father. He was the offspring of their mother and another man, rendering him and Su Niao full siblings. Su Niao felt as if struck by lightning, murmuring, How can this be? This cannot be true. You are lying. You must be deceiving me. The second brother's gaze turned frenzied, his voice rising in a thunderous roar, his whole body trembling. He clutched their father's arm tightly. Father, I am your son, am I not? Speak, father. In truth, had the father reflected carefully, he would have realized the timeline did not align. Yet, in that moment of overwhelming joy, he failed to discern the discrepancies. The father, weary, sank into a chair, appearing to age a decade in an instant. A calamity, truly a calamity. The second brother, his tears cascading, was utterly exhausted, muttering about impossibilities. Suddenly, he became deranged. His eyes bloodshot, fixated on Su Niao. It is all you're doing. You seduced me, you wretched woman. See, Su Niao did not grasp the fickleness of men. Even if both were at fault, when calamity struck, men would invariably twist the narrative to their advantage. He would not consider the bond they shared, let alone the absence of blood ties. Even upon discovering she was his own sister, it would matter not. He was on the verge of losing his identity as a scion of the Song family. Corruption was a matter that could tarnish 9 generations. My once-cherished second brother would also be implicated. Su Niao's hopes clung to him as if a fool's dream. Stunned by the slap, Su Niao suddenly erupted into hysterical laughter. The second brother, oblivious to her, knelt before their father, pleading incessantly, claiming he had been raised by him, identifying him as his only father. The father, known for his soft heart, might be swayed by such entreaties. If that were the case, I might as well accompany him on his journey. In a previous life, had the second brother not aided Su Niao in their poisoning scheme, the father would not have met his end without even a complete corpse. What if the father believed him, and the second brother remained unchanged, harboring vengeful thoughts? The father could never again trust his fabrications. He immediately ordered the servants to throw them out. I turned to Su Hong, my heart brimming with gratitude. He ruffled my hair gently. To bear so much alone. You have truly suffered. His eyes shimmered with unshed tears, exuding an air of profound sorrow. 3 days later, I wed Su Hong. As I gazed upon the second brother kneeling at the gate, I felt naught but indifference. The elder brother approached him, and he clung to him like a beggar on the street. Brother, I am your sibling. After all these years, I have contributed in my own way, even if not with merit. It was said that the emperor, recalling him as a former young master of the Song family, had exiled him rather than condemning him to death. Today, he had secretly escaped. The elder brother scoffed, delivering a harsh kick that sent him sprawling to the ground. Do not feign such brotherly affection. It is repugnant. I sat in my palanquin, observing the woman cowering in the shadows. It was Su Niao. Her child was gone. Once radiant and beautiful, she was now a woman even the most destitute beggar would not spare a glance. She was filthy, her gaze filled with malice directed at me. Moments later, several guards appeared behind her, covering her mouth and dragging her away. The curtain was lowered, and the palanquin moved steadily forward. I finally felt a sense of relief. In this lifetime, I had safeguarded everything. The end of the tale. Thank you for listening. And until we meet again in the next story.